bigger than what it was, you know, or just sitting empty basically, right? So we hit the drawing board, and you know, if we put a kitchen in the barn, where would it go? And of course, I do have to say, his mom and dad were a huge influence on this as well. The big planning sessions. So we kind of mapped it out, you know, decided where the kitchen, the certified kitchen would fit best, and then how to utilize these 3 pasture spaces, right? So we took one up, took fencing out and seeded it and graded it, and Bill actually put a lot of work into it, and that is what is our seating area today. We left the second pasture because we do currently have animals. We have a couple goats and a donkey. Well, we saw Kenny, and alpaca. And then the third pasture, kind of southwest of the house, is the parking lot. So we just, we went to work, cleaned out the barn, started building, started cleaning up the pastures, taking fencing out. And then from there, you know, figuring out how the logistics inside, right? So we started out with one pizza oven, and built a little porch around that, and that was fine. That was great until we realized a couple years in we needed 2 pizza ovens. Pizza weights were, you know, we grew faster and bigger than what we expected, right? Which is an amazing problem to have, no complaining. But we had to then order a second oven, and it was a larger oven. So then there was expansion. And then from there, how does that system work of, you know, taking people's orders and getting it through the kitchen into 2 pizza ovens? And break it down as simple as possible. When you come, you get a piece of paper, and we get a piece of paper with the same number. And we put your order down, and it just swimmingly goes through the kitchen, and the oven room guys definitely know how to create a flow in there, to get pizzas out in a timely manner and to the right people. So that's that part of it, building as well. We right away, Bill loves live music, and I do too as well, but Bill had a big passion for live music, and that was something that we definitely wanted to be a part of this pizza farm. So we built, I had nothing to do with building this stage, okay? It was Bill and his dad and some buddies and stuff. Built a stage out of old barnwood beams, and beautiful little stage. And fast forward, we actually had to move it. It's on the south end of the property, or the dining area, as we call it. And we had to move it to the north. And from there, that was, I don't know what, 2 years in? I think 2 years in. And so we actually expanded it because we realized that it fit, you know, good. It was a good size for a solo musician, but we needed to expand it for, you know, maybe bands that had 3 to 4 people. So that was a little bit of growth that we saw there as well. And we love having the live music. Most of them are local as in Waseca, Mankato, and surrounding areas. So I guess I should maybe go back to, we first opened in 2015 was our first year, and we were open for about 2 months to just kind of get our feet wet. You know, we didn't know exactly how this was going to take off, right? I don't think I've ever been so nervous. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I was so nervous. I remember standing in the garage door and just praying that one person would show up on our opening night, right? But that was the middle of August, so we were open middle of August through middle of October, and it went very well. And again, I kind of talked about some of the growth and progress, such as the second oven and the moving of the stage, and expanding the stage, right, for live music. And eventually, with that growth, we actually started doing some weddings. People were very interested. That was never really an idea. I mean, it was always maybe kind of in the back of our mind, you know, to host private events and weddings, but people were very interested in wanting to hold, you know, their events out here. So we have grown to that. We do a lot of groom's dinners and ceremonies. Receptions, we don't do as many because we do legally have to close at 10 p.m. So that does put a damper, you know, on party time, right? 10 p.m. is typically right when it's all getting started and fun. But beautiful place for a ceremony and a real fun place for a groom's dinner. It's wide open. Events here are very casual and relaxed. We do, you know, a pizza buffet line, and we have yard games, and we have the walking trails. That's something I was going to get to a little later, but it's nice, you know, for guests and customers to be able to head out on the trails as well. Let's see, what else? Oh, and something that I really kind of started marketing last year beyond the groom's dinners and ceremonies are company picnics and corporate parties is definitely, that has grown and more interest, and partially because just about a mile and a half down the road, our neighbor opened Half Pint Brewing Company. And so a really fun day for companies to come out and have, you know, kind of a summer picnic for their employees, eat and relax, again, play the yard games, take a walk on the trails, you know, hang out with the animals, but then go up to the brewery for a tour through his hop fields and sample beers and then buy beers and come back here and kind of finish up the last hour of the day. That's something I'm really proud of and want to continue to grow as well. And then as far as other growth and things that I'm working on, we're going mobile. And that's really exciting. That's something we've always, again, kind of thought about, just kind of had it in the back of the mind. And now it's really happening. And we have 2 ovens. We can do 10 events this summer with these little ovens, these cute little backyard ovens that we have. And the goal right now is to, we're searching for maybe, you know, more of a mobile unit as far as a food trailer or truck or something, and build that and take that on the road. So something to look for. My goal is to definitely expand to Red Wing somehow with that. Back to my hometown. I feel very driven to come back home with this business somehow, as well as now, you know, continue to stay and grow in my new hometown, right? So also growth. When the brewery opened, we do deliveries, pizza deliveries up there on Fridays and Saturdays. So we may have a private event going on here, but we're still doing deliveries. We still offer pickup. That has become very popular lately, and we appreciate. Oh, I guess I should talk about kind of our days and hours, huh? That's huge. We are open May through October to the public, and it's Thursdays 4 to 8, Sundays 1 to 7, and typically we have the live music on Sundays between 5 and 7. That has always been our most popular time. Dinner time is our most popular time. So that's when we have the live music. And it's for those of you, I guess, huge part, that aren't maybe familiar with the pizza farm. You bring everything, right? So you bring your table, your chair, any other food that you want, dessert, snacks, appetizers, whatever. Beverages, alcohol for those over 21. And then we are a clean farm, and that means the trash that you create here, you take out. So bring a garbage bag, is what we tell people. And that's really unique and fun for people, you know, to be able to bring their own comfortable seating and their favorite beverages. And that's something that really drew me to wanting a pizza, or when we opened the pizza farm, keeping that model of BYOB, right? When I would go to A to Z, I loved being able to bring my favorite kind of wine, right? And not maybe just kind of have to settle for a glass that I thought was okay. I just love the idea of customers being able to enjoy exactly what they want, right? Because we provide the amazing wood-fired pizza. So that's a lot of rambling, and now I got to figure out where I am picking up here. Excuse me. So let's see. Oh, and then when we're open too, we invite vendors. So vendors who have homemade, handmade items or products, we invite them to come out on Thursdays or Sundays whenever they want and to set up, and there's no vendor fee, right? I believe that supporting local is huge in community. And that's definitely something I learned when I lived in Red Wing. Again, to kind of backtrack, in my mid-20s, I worked for downtown Main Street. And then I also subbed at the Chamber. And I think there I learned a lot about community and growth and opportunity, and that I loved working with people. I loved working with again, just community, with people, with businesses. And I always knew that I wanted to own my own business. And I always kind of secretly hoped I was going to own a pizza farm one day. Actually, that was something I always thought of, dreamed of, when I would go to A to Z and I'd sit there and I'd think, I'd love to own a pizza farm one day. So I do think it's very serendipitous that I met Bill, who had this land and property, right? The stars aligned for sure. But yeah, going back to Red Wing, I loved working with businesses and business owners and volunteering and helping and just building that collaboration, right? So fast forward here now, I love working with, there are many stores in Waseca that in shops that I work closely with, including Piccadilly, the Urban Nomad Bakery, Lush Cakes, Trio, Zinnias. There are so many. Four Seasons, again, I've mentioned Half Pint Brewing Company. And we've had the Boathouse out here for private events, helping us, Jessica's Cottage Bakery and Bakery. Something really important to me, to just always work with community and local businesses and together. That really means a lot. And I think that the more you work together, the more you can grow not only your business, but again, your community. Huge word for me. Oh, and then of course the Waseca, the Chamber, they have been wonderful too. Definitely a lot of working together. And they've helped me navigate a lot too, opening this business. It's huge, with the best Waseca Best, they were huge. And when we decided to open, they were a great organization, and Smith continues to be a rock for us, as well as the SBDC Mankato location. So I think then with that, I'll kind of move to goals that we have here, future goals of the pizza farm. They're ever changing, right? They don't ever go away, but there's always a shelf, right? And I think Bill and I definitely have that personality that, we're always coming up with new ideas, and we never throw an idea away, right? We just put it on a shelf and save it for later. Again, I'd like to continue growing our private events. Something else that I'm working on right now, is canning our pizza sauce and selling it. So I'm working with, I believe it's the AURI organization, and helping with nutrition labels and all that jazz that I'm not good at, okay? And then another thing that I've been working on since basically last fall, who knew that it's not just as easy as snapping your fingers, but a subscription box, right? So it would be, I'm kind of, you know, maybe fresh ingredients, right? So raw dough with fresh ingredients to make your pizzas at home. And then we grow microgreens. Oh yeah, we've got gardens. I forgot to talk about the gardens. With beautiful gardens out there. Bill and his mom do a very good job of maintaining the large gardens, the large garden and smaller garden that we have, and greenhouse. But then, so our microgreens, putting the pizza and the microgreens, and then maybe a dessert and a bottle of wine, right? In a subscription box and selling those. That's something that it's not going away. It's on the front of a shelf right now. And then also I'm working on a cookbook that has been in progress for about a year, but you know, just taking all my creations. We do weekly features here on the farm. So taking those pizza recipes that I come up with the help of family and friends and staff too, you know, and getting them into a cookbook. And obviously the mobile unit, continuing to build and grow that and move forward. Trying to think of anything else. People often ask me, you know, how many staff do you have out here? And do you work other jobs? You know, what do you do? And yeah, we actually have about 10 part-time staff or volunteers that come in and help us run, you know, Wednesday through Sunday. And they're amazing people. I cannot say, you know, enough good about them. And we got lucky. Somehow I got really lucky finding these, again, amazing people. I can't, they're just, without them, Bill and I, you know, wouldn't be where we are. And again, we wouldn't be where we are without our family and our friends. And I think that's really huge. Bill's parents, again, have been amazing at supporting us and helping us grow and move forward. My parents as well, and lots of phone calls to my sister. Huge shout out to my sister for these past 6 years. But also friends, the support of friends. I have so many great friends, and a lot of great friends still in Red Wing and in that area who come down here, you know, and support the pizza farm and come down and see me. And you know, it's a little over an hour, you know, but their support has been great. And even the local Red Wing community, you know, a lot of my friends that I don't really know, you know, have come down to enjoy the pizza. And I appreciate that so much, so much. I don't know.
We have some questions if you want to take a sip, and I'll have Stacy rattle off a couple questions to you, and then we can certainly come back to that, but that might help you, and then we'll come to your topic. Okay, go ahead, Stacy.
So Emily, so first of all, I wanted to say, I am really glad that that we were able to have you on, and especially right now with everything that is happening in our world right now, to just come back to thinking about the sense of community and just the warmth and friendliness and the sense of well-being that we can all experience when we choose to come together and just celebrate everyday life or special events or whatever it is. And what a wonderful venue that you have to be able to promote that exact thing right now. As Shannon said, that there are a couple of questions that have come through, And one of them is a question just on how many different pizza farms have you personally visited as you were, as you had, because I know that back when you first got this idea that there weren't that many around. And so I know that there has probably been a lot of very serious research going into the visiting of multiple pizza farms that has taken place. It's probably been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, yes. So A to Z, obviously, and we have been to Dream Acres in Wyckoff, Minnesota, and we have been to Luna Valley, which is located in Decorah, Iowa. Is that it? Bill, I'm actually going to invite Bill in here. Everybody should say hi to Bill. The hard thing about visiting pizza farms is they're open when we're open. So we definitely have a list. We'd love to get to how's that? Can we see Bill? Everybody, Bill. We definitely want to get to every pizza farm for sure on our list. And what we're learning too, and what we hear more and more is they're opening up nationwide all across the country. And so I think eventually that'll be a really fun little road trip.
Something else too, like I'm starting to notice is pizza farms might be kind of the beginning of an emerging scene. But in Wisconsin, there is a burger farm, and we're starting to realize that it might just be, how do I say it, a whole new concept. So I'm really trying to stay in tune with, obviously I want to see all the pizza farms, and I wish I had more time to go to them all the time. Yeah. Oh, we've been to North Pizza Farm.
Yeah, and of course Red
Almost
Barn.
forget about that because it's our closest one.
Yep.
But just that dining concept, that eating concept, I think is something you're going to see emerge nationwide. And so I'm excited to see what's going to come of it. Sure, it starts with pizza farms, but what may else? Continue to happen.
Taco farm?
Ooh, that sounds good. So another question here, and Sam, I'm going to unmute you and let you ask your question yourself. Sam is one of our Entrepreneurs First partners. And is from Green Seams, and he supports entrepreneurs, especially in the ag sector, like you guys. So Sam had a question.
Hey, Emily, I think I got to see you at one of the last meetings before, no in-person meetings. So it's good to see you virtually here. I thought it was important to hear for myself, but also for others to think about, how do you decide what ingredients to have on the pizza? Do you grow them all? Do you source them locally? What do you come up with new, flavors to give people that experience and see what you're growing and what they get to eat? And so I'd love to hear more about that portion.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I kind of mentioned our gardens. We have a large garden in the back. And then we have our greenhouse and our little garden. So we grow a lot, and every year we expand our garden, right? And so we use a lot of those ingredients to top our pizzas. And as the season progresses and as the vegetables become, bountiful, we can pick them and use them. That's how I kind of really start creating my weekly features, right? And I think a lot of them just kind of come natural. Like, to me, what sounds good, what flavors go with what, how to pair and match food, and then how to make it work on top of a pizza as well, right? And then we do locally source, when we can, as much as we can, and which is great around here. Fisher Pork Farms is someone that we do buy pork from, bacon, and that goes on a few of our pizzas. Sometimes what I'll do is bring a feature back, right? So if it's a really popular one, I will bring that back. There are a couple that I bring back every summer. And the pork that I get from Fisher, that we get from Fisher Pork Farms, goes on top of the full bore barbecue. The barbecue sauce, we source that. from a couple out of Albert Lee.
Well, to answer your question, like how we come up with a lot of our flavors and combinations has a lot to do with our staff, friends, and family. Earlier in this interview, I heard Emily say how important it's been to have our friends and family. And that's kind of how it happens in the kitchen. Like we will have something we'll pull from the garden, whatever that may be, and we'll have it in the kitchen. And it may not be a pizza that we offer at that point in time, but us and our staff we have a created menu. And we know that those are all really good pizzas, but we're always trying to create. So sometimes it'll be Emily and myself, possibly my parents, a couple friends, and 4 or 5 people working in the kitchen. And one of the perks to the job is we'll just start throwing stuff on a pizza dough and run it through the oven, and more than likely not like it right away, but instantly know what to put on it.
How to tweak it.
Like, man, if we don't use the honey this time and come up with some kind of fruit chutney, that would be better. Like, I'm just trying to give an example. And a lot of our pizzas that are on our menu today, or the features that we offer, come from making 2-3 different ones and listening to the input of who's in our kitchen on the day we decide to make it.
Yeah. The honey is local, so local, it's on our property. So there are bee boxes. Hannah's Honey has, I don't know how many bee boxes are back there. I don't really go near them. Anyways, so the honey, our fields actually are, it's in a reserve, or how do you explain the land?
Well, a lot of our acres here are set aside ground. A lot of people know it as CRP. That's not the program it's in, but it's retired agricultural land. And so
it has a lot of wildflowers, and therefore the bee boxes do thrive here. And then that honey is put on top of the sweet Georgia pie and any other creations we come up with.
Okay, so a question that has come through, and there is one regarding your performers, and we'll come back to that one in just a minute. But since we're talking about your kitchen and the food that you create there, there is a question about whether you've had any challenges with setting up the kitchen related to licensing or food regulations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's a lot we could say in that, but really, I guess the best way to say it is to get licensed through Food and Health, whether it be the county or the state Department of Ag. There's different agencies that different places would have to get licensed through. No matter how you slice it, for us, it's through our county, but we wanted to open an NSF-approved kitchen inside of our what once was horse barn. So that is where the hurdles began. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely a long hurdle race. Yeah. One after the other. And we're still dealing with it today. I'm very proud of our county and how the mindset was. For the most part, like I say, there were hurdles, but for the most part, the mindset with people that we worked with was, how do I say it? Okay, how do we get you open? Yeah. Ooh, this is going to be a problem. How do we deal with this problem? Yeah. Instead, we never did meet too much of like, well, you can't do that. Yeah. And then arms crossed.
Resistance.
So I'm real proud of our county and the people we got to work with here in Waseca County on that, because we are open. But we could go into more detail if you want, but for sure, putting a NSF-approved kitchen in a horse barn out in the country in a entire county that does not have one single restaurant that lies outside of a city limit, and it's an A1 agricultural district that we tried opening a restaurant in. Luckily, there was this great licensing called agritourism that we didn't even know we fit within, but it turns out that's exactly what we were opening, was an agritourism business. but there was a lot of challenges, makes a long story short.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I can't even imagine the types of challenges that you encountered. I'm wondering, aside from the great support that you got at the county level, what one or two things would you say really played a factor in that level of determination that you had to hold on to and possess yourselves to just keep putting one foot in front of the other to get to where you know that you wanted to go? So what are those one or two things?
I think that definitely our passion to be entrepreneurs and opening up a unique dining experience for people to come in and enjoy, right? Especially, you know, people who don't necessarily get out to the country a lot. And I think that's what we value here is that, you know, you can come out here, you can be in nature, and you can hang out, and you can be away from technology and enjoy one another's company. You know, like knowing the happiness that this is going to bring families was definitely a push forward that just kept us going. And then two, I started to say that we're very passionate people in entrepreneurial ideas, right?
We have a lot of entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, are you essentially asking when the hurdles mounted up, what did we do? What kept us going?
Yeah. And it's a very broad question, but many times people can identify like one or two things and for you, maybe it was that driving passion and knowing what it was that you were creating and the value that it was going to bring to the community. And so, yep.
And what kept me going on a lot of it, one was Emily. So like to anybody that's experiencing something that is provided with a lot of challenges, having the support of Emily amongst friends and family, but was big because there were certain things that I just wanted to tap out on. Like I could not fill out another application. I'm done with it. Or she would maybe start filling them out or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And then, knowing what we were creating, knowing what we wanted, that was probably like the focus and made it easy to continue to strive towards it. Yeah. And then two, like the biggest thing I can say is doing something every single day that moved the ball forward, even if it was just as simple as running a drag across the driveway that day, right? To get our driveway in better shape. But to never let one single day pass without doing something more, filling out an application or having another meeting or just construction itself, but every single day, never let a day pass without doing something.
Right.
That's great advice.
Okay, so the question regarding the performers, and that is coming from Alita, and she is asking, with performers, do you manage the agreements to book them, assuming a contract is needed, or do you feel you need to have an outside management company handle it for you? I know that you mentioned you have a lot of local talent that comes in, which I think is wonderful, just with your mission to promote community in general, and having those local connections, I think is great. So how do you handle that with booking your talent?
Yeah, so what I do all the booking myself, and I have my calendar out, and I start typically in February. And it's kind of a first come, first serve, right? So if a musician messages me before February, I just say, reach out in February, and that's when I start booking. If you reach out first, then I'll schedule you in, right? We'll fit. And that's how I build the schedule, and that's what I have found is easiest. And then we have a lot of returning musicians too, and that that helps and makes a difference, you know. And then it makes us feel good that they want to return, that they enjoy playing here, you know. But yeah, it does get difficult, well, like anything, but it's another thing to manage. But I also enjoy speaking to musicians and planning it out, and then, you know, kind of picking a variety of music. It's typically acoustic music that we have here, but
Emily, do they play for tips, or do you have to factor expense? I mean, do you have to pay them some amount?
Yeah, yep. So there is a small budget, and I just remind musicians that we don't have a liquor license. We're not a bar. We're not a full restaurant. All we sell is pizza, right? So there's a small allowance that goes out, and they're welcome to put a tip jar out.
Yeah, because we do have musicians that say, "Can we sell merch? Is that okay? Or can we put out a tip jar? Is that okay?"
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. Yeah.
So how many people do you have visiting the farm on an average day or on an average weekend when you're open?
So an average Sunday for us, I mean, I guess it depends on what part of the season we're in too, right? What we notice is when kids are in school, we're not as busy. As soon as kids get out of school is when our Sundays specifically, get really busy.
And we've clearly become a summer destination.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this place is amazing in the spring and even better in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, we are tagged, or pizza farms are tagged as a summer thing to do. And I'm not complaining when I say that, but that's very clear.
Yeah. So I think a Sunday in July, you know, we could get about, I don't know, 300.
Yeah, I would say between
passing through
300 to 400 people.
Cycling through.
But I've never like taken a good head count.
Yeah.
And you can't base it off of pizza sales either.
Right.
Because a lot of these people are bringing salads and birthday cakes and
other food.
So it's hard to know, like I can't quite exactly pin down like how many people to a pizza, but I would say in that 300 to 400 range. That's on the busy side. If we're in that spring and fall, then we're I don't know, 1 to 300, you know, just depending.
Yeah. And the weather, you know, is a big factor and variable as well.
Yeah.
Have you counted like what's the most pizzas you've cranked out in any given day in your history?
Well, I kind of forget exactly, but I think like 207 or something is the most we've ever done. Just because the way our kitchen is, the way our pizzas are, the way everything is designed. I think some of these other pizza farms are doing like 300 or 400 pizzas, and I don't know how.
It's impressive.
Good for them.
Yeah,
it's really, really,
so
really impressive. But the way we're set up, we really can't do north of 200.
Yeah, and we like that, right? So it keeps our the customers out here. You know, we're good with 300 to 400 people cycling through on a Sunday. There's plenty of space for everybody to have like their own little area, you know, or families and friends to have their own little area and stretch out. And I think as long as we keep, you know, just have 2 ovens and maintain this, you know, this number and this level, we can maintain 300 to 400 people out there on a Sunday afternoon that we're totally happy with. And what we hear too is, you know, it's a nice number for customers coming in too. It's busy, but not overly busy.
We are going to keep going until 5, but I want to just make a couple of announcements in case somebody, you know, has to go or has to drop off. First of all, I am going to drop a survey into the chat. So it's literally like 3 minutes. We would really appreciate you taking this quick post-event survey. We'll also email it out to you tomorrow. So if you get it a second time, you can certainly disregard. As Stacey mentioned earlier, one of our E1 partners, Sam, is on with us today from Green Scene, but we are part of what's called E1, stands for Entrepreneurs First. And I would just encourage all of you to follow E1 on Facebook, as well, obviously, as the Pizza Farm, which I'm sure Emily will talk about too, her marketing methodologies. And Red Wing Ignite is also on Facebook. And we have a number of events that you'll find there. We have these monthly talks. The E1 partnership has tech talks once a month. The next one's coming up on 6/20. I wrote it down. 6/25. And then we've got some other classes. So we just think it'd be a great way for you to follow what's happening both with Red Wing Ignite with the full E1 partnership. And again, we look forward to other speakers in the coming months. We'd be happy to have suggestions for people you'd like to hear from. And now we're going to go back to some questions and answers and let Emily finish up too. And I'm going to send the survey now.
Okay, great. And then I did put the link into our E1 Entrepreneurs First Facebook page. And then Shannon, if you could put the link for Red Wing Ignite Facebook page in there too, that would be great. And the survey is there. One thing I will mention about the survey is it's holding events like this and offering support to the community and educational events are all part of what helped to make our grant funding possible. So we can continue to support area entrepreneurs and continue to offer support to startups, and then also the work that we do within our workforce development. And so if you could just take the few minutes that it takes to answer those questions, it will help us to ensure our funding moving forward. Now, there is a question that has come through on the chat, and I'm going to give a moment for any other questions here because we do have about 10 minutes left. But before I go to that, the question that I have that I think that everyone would really like to know about your goat, and we'll talk about him in just a minute, is there is a question about how has COVID-19 changed your business or impacted it, or has it?
Okay. Yeah, so definitely pickup sales have been really good for us. So we went to pickup, and we're going to continue pickup moving forward because it has been good.
Awesome.
Can I backtrack for a second?
Of course you can. This is your show.
I just think the COVID question is really interesting. There's so much I could say about it. But the one thing I think is interesting is we do chat with Luna Valley Farm. That's a pizza farm out of Decorah. And Marin, one of the owners there, she's really sharp. She sent me a message on Instagram one day that I want to say this was in February that said, "Oh my God, are you guys freaking out?" It was late February or early March. And I remember thinking to myself, no, why? Like, why? This summer is a long ways away yet. And then as time went on, every day after that her question became a little bit more real. And there is no doubt Emily and I were very concerned at one point in time of how much it was going to impact our business. Because we were doing delivery up to the brewery at the time, and he shut down. Like when a lot of the shutdown stuff started happening, he did right away. And so did we. And we were very concerned for a couple weeks. And then Emily said to me, I don't know, we got to try something. We should do pickup. A lot of restaurants are doing pickup. And now we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And so I thought to myself right away, like, yes, I agree, Emily. That's like I talked about earlier, uplifting each other. Like, yes, you're right. Let's try something. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, they came out here because it's a nice place and there's music. No one's coming out here to pick up pizza. And shout out to our local community, not just Waseca, like local and just the circle around us, 30-mile circle around us, if not more. They all, like, people were really excited to get pizza. And as Emily started the conversation out with, pickup was, for a few weeks, surprisingly amazing, like really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
To the community you built, though. I mean, your following and your fans, and I think the kind of the average consumer, and including the pizza lover, we wanted to figure out a way that we could support businesses through, what was a very difficult transition, harder for some than others. So it's great to hear that you had some strong support. Yeah,
definitely our fellow Blooming Grove Township neighbors, and then as well as the folks in Waseca and other,
Owatonna, other people. Just
overwhelming, actually.
We have people from Red Wing. Come. That was so cool.
Red Wing.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Related to that, I know that A to Z, I believe, still does. Any consideration to doing takeout only after your season ends?
No,
After
because
October?
I mean, yeah, yes, we will, but then we continue to do delivery up to Half Pint Brewing Company.
Okay. Yeah, because I think literally people in February can go get a pizza at A to Z in the winter, like on Tuesdays.
Oh, really? No.
And they will, when you have, like you said, when you have good pizza.
Yeah, you do.
Will
Yeah.
come, right? They will come.
Thanks for sharing with us about that.
Yeah, Bill and Emily, thank you for talking about that a little bit. I know that the current circumstances and climate have all impacted us in different ways, and to hear stories of how good has come out of some of the difficult times, I think is very encouraging. But I would like to go back before we wrap things up. And Emily, we're so glad to have you on. We were really, really happy to meet you, Bill. But we keep seeing this little head poking back and forth in the background, and we'd love to meet your coworker there and hear a little bit about him or her. And we'd love to hear. I saw him earlier, and he was awfully quiet, but I have a feeling that he has this very mischievous side to him too.
Nice.
So
Here's Kenny.
Here just a little bit.
Oh, Kenny. Yeah, it's very hot, right? So he's warm. He's slowed down today. But here's Kenny. He's a boar goat, and we got him last November. And he is a ham. He is a ham. For those of you, who maybe follow my Facebook page, I've started doing videos with the animals, and Kenny definitely is the star. And so he was a year old in April, so he's a kid, right? He's a baby. So he gets into a lot. He's still learning. But he loves it out here. He was, as you can tell, he was a 4-H goat. He was a show goat, which is really cute because I can still lead him, which it's adorable, right? But he likes to go for walks on the trails. He likes to play, what do you do? Like you kind of chase. He plays chase, I guess when we chase the dogs. Oh, speaking of dogs, there's our little one. Come here, Louie. That's Louie.
You see Louie at the wine box? Like, it's happy hour, Mom.
I didn't crack the wine.
But, yeah, Louie's like,
but I know. Louie, come. Louie will come say hi. Hi. Yes, he's our little Pom. And the most amazing thing is that all these guys, they get along, right? They, the donkey and Louie, actually, they tend to stay farther apart because we, little animal, big animal. But it's fun to see everyone kind of hang out in the yard. Our animals free range when we're not open, pardon me. And so they just get the run of the land. And people often ask, don't they run away? They don't. I've trained them, I've trained the boundaries and everything. And they stay within. But, they have like 13 acres here to run around. And that's plenty. But
they live on a pizza farm. Why in the world would they run away?
Yeah, why would they leave? Where would they go, right? I know.
I mean, Emily, they may want something besides Franzia every now and then, but I'm guessing you have other selections.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, we want to make sure that you get those last few minutes in there. If you want to talk about any, I did paste your Facebook page in the chat.
Yeah.
So people should follow along. But any last things you'd like to share with us? We're so appreciative of your time.
Yeah, I just really want to thank Red Wing Ignite. Adam Gettings and I actually have been friends for, close to 10 years. And he was always there from the beginning, Adam and Allison, actually. And then Adam took that position in Red Wing Ignite. And I had a lot of meetings with him because I again, in that growth, I wanted to, I've said I feel like I need to be in Red Wing, right? I need to be back in my hometown and create something and do something there. And Adam was very helpful in coming up with ideas in how to possibly, get Pleasant Grove Pizza Farm expanded to Red Wing. And I do appreciate everything that he did and that you guys do to help entrepreneurs and businesses. Because we couldn't do it without organizations and great people within them like yourselves and like Adam. So thank you.
Happy to help and happy to elevate your business and your success, and hopefully the E1 partners can continue to help you advance forward. Sam is a great resource. I know you're doing some work with AURI, but Sam has some amazing contacts and resources too in the ag sector, so we'll continue to spread your message. But we can't thank you enough for being here, Emily and Bill and Kenny and all of you that joined us today. Again, if you'll take just a minute and do the survey, and please follow along, Emily. Please go to Wasika and have some pizza on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And thank you, and congratulations on all your success, Emily.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Applause.
Bye-bye.
So good, Emily.
Enjoy your evening. It's beautiful outside.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Thanks, everyone.
I don't know how to get off. Am I still on?
You are, and I can
You are. You can, Emily, if you want to hang out for a moment with us, you can.
Yeah, but now I got to figure out how to get back on. Oh, right here.
There you are. There you are.
Okay, now I'm going to pour that wine.
5 o'clock, Emily. It's 5 o'clock.
I didn't know. Well, then Bill sat down, and then I felt awkward pouring wine.
No.
Jill?
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, thank you. I got rambly, but
it was good to hear your story, and no, it's great to hear your story, and I think some of it is just so interesting. One, all the destiny, all the alignment of the destiny is certainly amazing, and it's nice to hear that, because oftentimes, especially where the health codes are concerned, people aren't helpful. So
right.
even though there were some obstacles, it sounds like your county really wanted you to succeed, and they really wanted to find a way.
They did, and it was huge. That was huge. Lots of obstacles, but everyone was like Bill said, how can we help you through this? How can we navigate this? How can we get over this hurdle and get you open? Because they really wanted us to be a part of the community, as well. They recognized that it was a unique opportunity or venue to be brought into this community, to bring outsiders in.
Yeah, for sure.
And drive forward. So
I loved hearing your story. It was wonderful. You did a fantastic job. You really shared your passion and what it is that has driven you to work so hard. And when people hear stories like that, it makes them want to get behind people to see them be successful.